Wanted to share a story, but before I do, just it's a trigger warning in terms of women being attacked. So if that's something that is too much or you click away, definitely I would invite you to check out the interview I just did recently, as this topic is really important, even though it is really tough. In 2016, I was getting my master's at Maryland University of Integrative Health. I had grown up training in Krav Maga and martial arts, and personally came out of the womb just kind of like wanting to really know how to have these skills and like take care of myself in that sense specifically. But since I got really sick with Lyme disease, my life path took a big turn, and I hadn't trained in over a decade or so. It was just like really hard for me to be able to keep up. In addition to that, I felt a lot of shame around the fact that I enjoyed punching and kicking things so much, and the aggressive side of that. And I was, like I said, getting my master's in herbalism and nutrition, and my whole world pretty much was, like yoga communities and Reiki and meditation, and a very much softer, gentler space, which I really needed during that time, as I was still, 2016, I was doing much better with Lyme, but I was still like coming out of that. And I was starting to think about training again, but I didn't really commit to it until later that year. And I just put it together a couple days ago when I was writing for one of my Substack posts that this really was the catalyst in so many ways. And so there was a professor at MUIH, the university I went to, and I didn't know her personally, but a few of my friends did. And she went missing on Christmas Eve and was found a few days later, and she had been beaten and strangled and stuffed in her trunk. It was so close to home. I was reading about her and that she was a yogi and an actress and just this beautiful bright light. And I saw every single one of my friends and my community in her. And this is not like, I don't know what exactly happened. I don't know how it all went down. And she didn't do anything wrong. Like, we're never victim blaming in these situations. There are monsters, unfortunately. They are real. And I'm not trying to be in a fear mongering place. It's just sort of like, to put it in a different way, there's weather, right? Bring an umbrella. There's monsters. Know how to deal with them. If you do what you can. Which is why I talk about all of this stuff so much. I didn't want to at that time, up until that time, because I didn't want to contribute to the fear. I didn't want to contribute to the violence by practicing violence. Like I was in that space where it was like, I didn't want to add to that. And it reminded me, of the importance of these things, the importance that we as women, or just anybody who is smaller, weaker, in a disadvantaged position, or, more likely to be subject to some kind of attack. It is incredibly important. I think it is the highest form of self-care to have some kind of training, some kind of knowledge, whether it's just understanding people's language and how to navigate around problematic situations and environments. Ultimately, it comes down to the people that we surround ourselves with and the environments that we surround ourselves with. That is really where this starts. Our relationships are key. Most women are not attacked by a stranger. They're attacked by someone who said that they loved them. And that is always the most fucking heartbreaking thing ever. So that's really where so much of this starts. So even if you're not feeling called to do the punching, kicking, choking people out kind of thing. And I understand it. It's intimidating. Well, I should say, I personally don't. I wanted to do it kind of like from the jump. But I do understand that that is a hurdle to overcome, and is one of the reasons why I'm going to keep talking to the friends that I have that I've known for years, who are the experts in this field, who do this every day. I teach a women's jiu-jitsu class, but it is not a complete self-defense class. I just spoke with my friend Ryan Hoover. I will be speaking with more friends. I'm very grateful to be able to share that with everybody, because whether or not you're the person who needs it, you have somebody in your life who does. And again, so many of these things can be avoided just by being able to pay attention to problematic language, how we deal with red flags. Like, I did not know how to stand up for myself. I did not know how to detect red flags for the longest time. I knew how to punch and kick people. I didn't know how to deal with it when it came to an emotional place, and that caused a lot of problems for me that I had to navigate around that, so I could, not put myself in that kind of harm's way. Conversation for another time. But for anyone who, the community, the gentle, soft spirits who hold so much space and have so much compassion and love and kindness, and maybe don't see this portion of themselves, their sacred warrior, that true warrior spirit, this is for you. I will cover lots of different aspects of this, and I will get into the technique weeds for us martial arts nerds. But my hope, my real hope is that something in here, something that I'm sharing, whether it's just sharing somebody else's information or sharing something that I'm saying, like, I just really hope it inspires you to look a little bit further into the self-protection side of things, whether it comes to identifying people's red flags, whether it comes to identifying language and things like that, or just scenarios that are not the best, just ways to care for yourself. That's really what this is about. And yes, do I love training, and do I want every lady I meet to come to some class and engage that monster within themselves? Yes, I do. But really, it's not as if you need a lifetime of training to do those things. It is just the willingness to think about yourself as someone that you want to protect and do what you can to do that, to honor yourself, to take care of yourself on the most fundamental level. Like, you set good boundaries with toxic people, right? This is the next tier of that. That just keeps, you have a crazy person in your life who's exhibited some really crazy behavior. Well, sometimes we run into people who exhibit way more crazy behavior stemming from that initial place. So I'm going to continue to share these things on my Substack and all the things that I share, the YouTube and the podcast and everything. I'm somewhat cycling through the topic, so I will keep coming back to it. I really just encourage you to share, especially this most recent interview that I just did, with someone who you think might need it, and just keep it for later. And I will continue to bring on more friends who are just incredible advocates for this, incredible teachers. And I hope that it contributes something to your self-worth and how you take care of yourself.